What's up, everybody, and welcome to Southwest Florida. Sucks right now, it's not so much the distance, but the amount of big equipment and trucks around the road. Welcome to Fort Myers Shores. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Fort Myers Shores. We are, believe it or not, east of 75. However, this area, despite being 30 miles away from the Gulf or something like that, had storm surge because of the Caloosahatchee River. Now, you can tell that the city has already came and picked up one round of debris because of the white stains that are on the road. That means that there was already a garbage pile by the side of the road. They picked it up, and now this is the second round. You can also tell that the city already came and did one round because you can see patches of dead grass on people's lawns. So this community here, even though there's a lot of garbage outside, this community is on their second round of garbage. So despite the fact that there's a lot of garbage piles outside, that was only the first round of garbage. After a hurricane, you're gonna have 3 to 4 rounds of garbage before people are able to completely rebuild. And again, this area was hit by storm surge, even though it's quite far inland, very far inland actually. Everything that was touched by the storm surge has to be thrown out, including people's furniture, because it will eventually rot away. The floors, the furniture, everything has to go, and it will eventually just corrode, basically. We actually did a video right here in Fort Myers Shores right after the hurricane, and the video got close to 100,000 views, which was incredible to me because I thought, wow, really, Fort Myers Shores isn't really that big or famous of a place, but it really caught the internet's attention that these homes, being so far inland, still had storm surge damage. And you know, the furniture, I've had a lot of people question, do they have to throw their furniture out? The problem is that it's going to start to create mold, and that mold can eventually pretty much take you out if you're not if you're breathing that in. It'll pretty much take you out. But you can see here that these properties are right on the water, and even though that there's still so much garbage out here, it's like a kitchen cabinet, and you can see that the water came about 20, maybe 18 to 20 inches inside of this cabinet. You can see the water line. So these people's kitchen right here, you can see the water line. So we're talking, if you were to stand up that piece of furniture, we'd have water just above our knees. It's crazy. You can see the water line inside, and you can notice that the area that was in the water is already starting to mold. You can see the mold coming all through there, and that is why they have to get rid of this stuff. The furniture and kitchen cabinets, anything that was in the water has to be removed because it'll start to create mold, and that mold will lead to respiratory problems, which can actually be terminal if you were to stay inside the house and your body wasn't able to handle that. So it is definitely essential for these people to get rid of all of this furniture that was wet. That much mold isn't going to be something you're going to be able to live with in a home. It will definitely become fatal for you. So I also want to show you here now that it's been long enough. You can actually see that the water line came right up to this mattress to here. And it's crazy how now you're starting to see the stuff, the reason why people are having to get rid of stuff if you didn't understand that. But you can see here with this empty lot that the water, the Caloosahatchee River and the canals that are connecting to it are right here. So if it's, let's say it's 5 feet down, this area would have had, let's say, a 7 or 8 foot storm surge. And what's crazy about that is how far inland we are, guys. We're east of 75, but even east of 75, that's how far up the Caloosahatchee River came. The smell here is not horrendous, but it's definitely noticeable. You can see that the royal palm trees are starting to throw out new branches, and also that the grass is starting to become green again. It was completely yellow and dead right after the storm because of the salt water. Let me make something clear, guys. I'm not going to tolerate political comments on my channel. If you make a comment, and I don't give a crap what politics you believe in, if you make a comment about politics on my video, I'm going to delete it. You're just wasting your time. I don't give a crap what your political views are. This is not Fox News or CNN. I don't want to see it on my channel. And what's really sad about these comments is how misinformed people are and not even understanding how hurricane cleanup works. See, in other hurricanes that we've had in the past, poor communities had waited. In case of where I used to live, we waited 14, 15 days after a hurricane to get our power restored in poor communities. So they would go around and they would get hurricane, they get power back for their commissioners and their rich friends and all their buddies. And then the poor communities would be left for months, weeks without getting their power restored. The reason that they can't do that anymore is because of social media. It has nothing to do with politics. The reason they've had to go back now and immediately restore power to places like Harlem Heights and some of the poorer communities first has nothing to do with politics. It has to do with social media. With social media, they can't get away with today with what they used to get away with in the past, because any regular Joe now has the ability to put a video on the internet and get 100,000 views. So they can't really neglect certain areas. I remember after Hurricane Charlie, it took us 14 days to get our power back, and all of the other areas around us got everything back, and we were left for last because we were a poor community. And that happened to most of the poor communities in Southwest Florida. The difference now is that today with social media, they can't get away with leaving the poor people behind. You know, the sad thing about that is it's not because they care about the people, it's because they can't get away with it. And that's really sad, that the reason why poor people are getting their stuff restored is not because they care about you, it's because they can't get away with it anymore. Because you have a lot of people taking credit for the good things happening, and you have a lot of people putting blame on the bad things on other people. But the truth is, neither credit nor blame. That is how hurricane cleanup works. And I don't really care for your political views, but it is important for you to know how disaster cleanup works. And the way disaster cleanup works is the following. Your local government spends money through contracts. So now this county has to get private contracts for the work. If there's any delays, most likely it's not the state, most likely it's not the Fed, it's the local government not being able to get contracts. And the reason they can't get those contracts may not even be their fault. For example, there may not be a landfill in a vicinity that has the availability for a county to get rid of their garbage. You can't really immediately blame the local government, and you can't blame the state or the Fed for it, because with an immediate need, like right now, it's hard to find contracts for anything. So it really isn't anybody's particular fault. The local government will spend the money. Then most likely the state will subsidize it. And then eventually the Fed will come in and refund that money. So that's how that works. So it doesn't, there's no real political implications to that process. There aren't even any real immediate political implications to the situation. And it's really sad to see people let their political notions just predetermine every aspect of their thought process and their opinion. Learn to think for yourself, and don't let those views kind of predetermine everything in life for you, because there's really very little political implications to the cleanup process and how it works. The county has to get contracts, and in the case of landfills, this is an unprecedented amount of garbage, so it's understandable that there's going to be difficulties with finding places for the garbage to go. I'm seeing so many people trying to put politics into a place where it doesn't really belong. It's just, there's a process for junk removal and garbage, and everything is in place. And compared to other hurricanes, this has been the fastest cleanup I've ever seen. Because if we go back to the scale of other hurricanes we've had in Southwest Florida, this cleanup hasn't been ridiculously bad. It's just been massive. But still, people are finding a political motive to throw behind stuff that really doesn't imply to the situation. So yes, if you make political comments, I'm going to delete your comment. Even before this hurricane, I didn't allow those comments on our channel. And now with what we're living, our tragedy here in Southwest Florida, keep that to yourself, because we're living, these are our lives out by the curb right now. So keep your crap to yourself. Don't try to use our situation as a political pawn for whatever you believe, because we're really living this in real life out here. You can see here how the water line just came into creating mold on this furniture here. And this is no longer really a water line, it's really a mold line. And this is the reason these people are having to get rid of all their belongings, is because now these belongings are going to be pretty much turning into mold. It didn't happen right away. You wouldn't have seen this the day after or the week after, but now 4 to 5 weeks later, we have this situation where you can start to see why these people are having to get rid of this stuff. And it's really people's lives, everything. I mean, every possession they had, every item they collected through their lifetime is now sitting here destroyed and becoming toxic to their owners if they were to try to keep these things. This is what the people are going through, and they're living. Just have a little bit of respect for these people and their situation, and don't try to gain some type of political conversation or get some political clout on the internet based off of these people suffering, bro. It's just, look at this. This is somebody's life. This is like all they had is sitting here by the curb, things that they were probably and almost certainly almost attached to your belongings. Show these people some respect, bro. In a situation like this, you don't have compassion for your fellow man. All you have is a political comment to make. It's just disgusting to see how many people, the only thing they can contribute in the comment section is their political views. I'm sitting here like, really? You're watching your fellow man who's worked so hard to give the family and provide for their family. Now it's all ruined, and all you have to offer is your political view. So no, I'm definitely deleting. And I don't understand how covering hurricane aftermath, instead of people having comments about compassion or how they can help, or just a comforting word for their fellow man, the vast majority of these comments, or too many of them, are political. Like, really? That's what's relevant right now? Especially considering that compared to other hurricanes, there's been an improvement. And some of these people in these communities, they might have already had health problems before the storm came through. They might have already had personal problems before this comes through. And this is just another thing to aggravate their problems. That's kind of why I left Southwest Florida, because because of the hurricane. I just didn't want to hear and be part of people's anger tantrums or be exposed to that type of negativity, because it really just aggravates what people already had going on. So yeah, about 5 weeks after the hurricane, there's still a lot of debris here in Fort Myers Shores, but I believe it looks like round 2 of garbage. So yeah, if you're making political comments on my channels, yeah, I'm kind of mad at you. Now, if you're making misunderstood comments, I'd like to help you understand that compared to other hurricanes, this is much bigger. And compared to other hurricanes, the cleanup efforts have been better despite complications. It's impossible to pick up garbage. I mean, I hear a lot of people saying there's still debris a month later. I'm like, yeah. There's going to be debris coming out of these houses for 3 to 6 months easily. And that was based off of Hurricane Irma, which wasn't that big of a deal compared to this hurricane. And during Hurricane Irma, people were putting out garbage for 3 to 6 months. So there's still a long haul to go. It's a different magnitude. Some people haven't even got back yet. They're still not back yet. There's some of these houses that are still the way they were the day after because people haven't got back yet. They live up north or something. So yeah, there's still going to be, some people haven't even started. This, guys, is why people have to get rid of their furniture, because it will eventually corrode and create mold, which is even so worse. Yes, unfortunately, people will have to get rid of a lot of belongings, if not most. You'll start to see that mattress there turning black and green already. So it's an unfortunate thing, but these people are likely going to have to get rid of just about everything they own that was touched by water. And even stuff on the walls, the moisture may creep up, and the stuff that initially wasn't touched by water will still get enough moisture in the air that'll destroy those things on the walls. Here in Fort Myers Shores, wind was not the main cause of damage. It was storm surge, but there was some type of wind damage here and there.
What does it cost to say something nice, like positive, instead of your own views where it doesn't belong?
Yeah, and they're irrelevant because, again, if you know how the cleanup process works, it's irrelevant. Local people here get contracts, and then the state and the Fed kind of pay for it later. Yeah, it's really unwarranted. You can now actually start to see the stuff getting mold on it too. And even the houses that are cleaned up, you can kind of tell where the garbage piles were at one point. You know, and some damages like these over here are gonna take possibly, big cranes, and they're busy right now. Getting a big crane right now is not easy. So these boats here, which are probably gonna require cranes, maybe a long wait to get a crane out here. And prices right now may be really, really high because they're prioritizing important stuff. So these boats jammed up against each other in a canal back here in a small little community like this, they could definitely be around for a few more months. No doubt about that. You'll be seeing stuff like this for a while because there just aren't enough cranes in the area. And the vast majority of workers are not from this area. So you're talking about a little bit of a logistical, but I think it was handled great. I mean, I can't even wrap my mind around the people that have to put up the electrical. I mean, we had our power back pretty much right after the storm, mostly everywhere. And I'm just going to go ahead and say, wow, think about the logistical nightmare of putting all that power back. Just think about the logistical nightmare of all these power lines and power that had to be restored and water, and how quickly all that happened compared to other storms, for example, and how really can you imagine the people that had to orchestrate thousands of power crews coming down here? You got to pay those people. You got to send them to the right places. You got to evaluate where their work is. Can you imagine the type of work that goes into that? I bet you right now in the comment section, there's somebody who is a manager of a store with 10 employees, and they can't get their 10 employees to do things right. These people had thousands of trucks, equipment, people from different states, all working together to get power restored. And I'm sure that some of the people here that are complaining about the efforts that were done by the power trucks and all that, I bet you their 10 people departments aren't in order. You know what I mean? Can't get their kids to clean their room type people, complaining about organizing thousands of people and hundreds and thousands of trucks. And then in the case of my channel, I got the people that are telling me, why don't you go help? Why don't you go help? You're not helping the community. You're not helping nobody. You're not helping nobody, Jose. Jose, you're not helping nobody. You're only helping yourself making money on YouTube, Jose. You're not helping anybody. You're not helping, Jose. Can I just let you know that probably only like 3% of the cleanup effort is people quote unquote helping. The vast majority of people are getting paid for their time and their work. Very few people that are out here working are volunteering. And those who are volunteering, a lot of them are just doing it so they can get respect within their organizations that they belong to, or they can get some type of, a trophy basically. You know what I mean? Like genuinely out there helping people. Most people are probably too busy with their own personal lives, even before this disaster, to be able to dedicate time to other people's needs. And I'm one of those people where I can't really worry about other people's needs. I got to make sure that my people are fed. So I can't go out there and do it, you know. And a lot of times, a lot of people are telling other people to go help. I'm just curious to know exactly what those people are doing themselves, because they may just be keyboard warriors telling other people to go help. Shaming other people into volunteering their time, that's not really how you should get things done. If you're going to help somebody, do it from the generosity of your heart. Do it because it makes you happy to help other people. Don't do it because people are telling you you have to go out there and help. If you help somebody, and if you're out there helping people right now, and you're not doing it out of the kindness of your heart, you're doing it because you're trying to get clout within an organization, or you're trying to just, you might as well just go home, because helping people isn't about, taking a picture and saying and putting on your Facebook, I went to help in Fort Myers. That doesn't do anything. Helping people generally just comes from your love of humanity and helping people and wanting everybody to be better. And I think today that is missing more than ever from our society.
If I help someone, you're never going to know about it.
Right. Because you don't help people to put it on Facebook or to get, you know what I mean? Like, that's not why you help people. So if I was out here helping people, I wouldn't be doing it so you guys could see it on YouTube. Because that's not the reason why. Like, if you're helping people just so you can have a good Facebook post or a good community post or a good video about how you're a kind-hearted person. I made a video about how I wasn't going to help people, and that's actually not that true. But it's just kind of a slap in the face to the people that are doing that, in that you can't guilt trip people into doing things. Because I got so many comments from people telling me, oh, you don't help people. I've actually recorded me doing a few things and I feel disgusted at myself for doing it. Like, I feel like demoralized that I actually took pictures of myself helping people, because that's not if you help people, it's between you and humanity. It's not something for you to showboat about. But yeah, I recorded myself helping a few people as a reply to those comments, and now I look back on it and it's like almost embarrassing. If you're gonna help people, you help them, and that's it. You from your heart. If you're a good person, at the bottom of your heart, you should have the desire to help people. But if you're a bad person, in the bottom of your heart, you have the desire to take advantage of every situation possible for your own benefit. So yeah, here in Fort Myers Shores, there's still huge piles of debris. Is it because the local government sucks? No. Is it because... No, it's not because of that. It's because you had a freaking hurricane and it's going to take months for people just to get that crap out of their house before they can start rebuilding again. But I chose Fort Myers Shores because this area here, it's neither the richest area nor the poorest area. It's kind of like a very average area. Right down the Fort Myers Shores is kind of like a perfect middle ground. And as you can see, there's garbage here piled for miles. You know, another thing that I want to mention on this video is we know that Florida is a high-risk place to live. And I've been trying to bring attention to that subject on our channel a lot, encouraging people that are poor to leave this area. But we have a lot of tools at our disposal. Many times on this channel have you heard me talk about flood zones, wind zone regulations? These have been reoccurring themes on my channel. How many times have you heard me tell people in Florida that if they're poor, they should leave this area? Yeah, there's flood insurance. There's wind zones, there's flood zones. How many times have you guys heard me on this? How many times have I talked on this channel about how poor people need to leave this area? What's it say there? I have tirelessly been telling people, wind zone, flood zone. If you're poor, leave this area. I mean, tirelessly, I've been telling people about being poor in this area. Why do you guys think I've been constantly warning people that if they're of little means that they shouldn't live here? And there's warnings, guys. How many warnings were there? Just on my channel, how many times have I warned people, telling them wind zone, flood zone? You know, if you moved here and you bought property here, you know, it's not that I'm not sentimental for people. I think people have misunderstood my comments as I'm not sentimental or I don't care about people. I care about people. That's why I give you advice. Advice. Knowledge is one of the most valuable things you can do to help people. I've been giving people advice on this situation for how long now? How many times, if you're my subscriber, have you heard me mention things like wind zone, flood zone? These are all warnings. So while this is an unprecedented event, when you buy these properties here in Florida, so when you buy properties, that's all terminology of real estate, guys. When you buy a house in Florida, it's not a secret that we have flood zones and wind zones and building codes, and this is terminology of buying real estate in Florida. So it's not that I'm insensitive to people's situation, it's that there were warnings all around this. It's like when I moved to Alabama, people warned me about it. People say, hey dude, this isn't really a place you're supposed to move to. And I took a loss. Why did I take a loss? Because I failed to listen to all the warnings that people were giving me. I thought I was smarter than all those people. But you know what? I had to leave Alabama. And I lived a nightmare of a lifetime, not because of what happened, but because I didn't listen to the warnings that people were giving me. And guys, when it came to Florida, there's lots of warnings. I'm pretty sure when you buy these houses here, there's probably some type of disclaimer you're going to sign about flood zones. And in fact, when you're buying real estate in the state of Florida, one of the things I've seen highlighted throughout properties and listings and stuff are mentions of, oh, this property is not in the flood zone, it's in the X500, or this property is not in a flood zone. How many times have you seen that? I should probably be wearing a mask. I can't imagine the people that are here permanently, how they're dealing with smelling all this stuff here. But even months after, Fort Myers Shores is still, wow. I mean, it's incredible. That months later, there's still this much debris. And again, it's not always the fault of the county. It's just these people have to get it out to the curb before it can even get hauled away. And you got elderly people, people out of state. Now, the smell of mold now, I can feel it in my lungs. You just really don't want to be out here right now. The smell is bad. It gets in your lungs. And one thing that I can notice is also just kind of like the frustration in people's voices. You hear people kind of just screaming at each other like everywhere I go. But this stuff really gets in your lungs, and I worry a lot for the people that are still living in these communities and if they're going to have respiratory issues. Alright, so we did videos right in front of this house right after the hurricane. I can't remember what the cover photo was for that Fort Myers Shores video. It'd be nice to find it and see if it still looks the same. But this is more serious here. This boat is still here. Remember this boat? Ah, today was me atravesó, man. They do have trucks in here.